And thank you for joining us for another edition of Hoops Hidden Gems Holiday Edition. Want to wish everybody a happy Memorial Day. Thank all you veterans for your service. For all you guys that are doing doing the work of the military, we appreciate you. My family members, my friends, for all you people I don't know, thank you for your service. I thought this was a good day to do the show since everybody's full of barbecue right about now. Um, Another great show tonight. We got a great lineup, some great coaches as usual. We give them a chance to talk about their program from women's basketball to we have a post grad director on as well. We're going to bring him on the men's side as well later on tonight. Again, thank you guys for episode number 72. It's hard to believe in November this will be 2 years since we've been getting it on. And our first guest is a family member of the show. He's been on here previously. It's my guy, great guy. We talk, from time to time, and even if we don't talk, when we do catch up, it's like we've been talking, since yesterday. I want to welcome everybody to the show. Mr. Coach Damon Jennings, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good, brother. You doing all right, man?
Man, you
That's a
already
great
know,
intro,
man.
bro. It's a
Yeah,
great
it's a
intro.
hustle as usual, man. And man, I always thank you for supporting everything we do over here. And it's always one of those things. Sometimes when I get a call from you, I'm like, oh man, you a tad too late on that one, or But we have the same
Yeah,
eye when we see certain things.
for
But
sure.
man, I wanted people to know some more about North Texas for the people that don't know. So
Yeah.
we're going to jump into it, talk about North Texas as a school, as a program, the conference, the roster. So let's go ahead and kick it off, man. Let's talk about North Texas, man.
Man, well, thanks again, man, for the invite. This is always fun. I think you were one of the first people, man, I actually did like a basketball podcast with. So,
Okay.
you know what I mean? So this is always fun for me. I'm in my comfort zone. I love doing these. But yeah, man, we could talk about North Texas, man. I'm actually about to start my fourth year. So I like to tell the players, the recruits, I'm a senior as well, right? I'm a senior. But yeah, this just finished up my third season, man. Not so great this past season from a win-loss record standpoint. We actually have a new head coach. His name is Jason Burton.
Okay.
Jason Burton is coming from Texas A&M Commerce. Really successful there. I coached against him when he was when Texas A&M Commerce was a Division II school
Okay.
in the Lone Star Conference, and so they have recently transitioned into a Division I conference into the Southland. And this past season was their first year D1. So he
Okay.
had one season there, Division I, then he got the job here in North Texas. But yeah, so new head coach, new staff members. I'm one person that actually stayed on from the previous staff. So like I said, about to start my fourth season there. But man, it's great, man, at North Texas. I think a lot of people ride through our campus because of where it's located. You have a ton of basketball tournaments that take place in the DFW Dallas area, right? And so
Yes.
whether you're coming from Oklahoma, wherever you're coming from, people drive past our school all the time. So on I-35, when you pass through our school, when you ride through North Texas, the campus, literally one side of the campus is all athletics. And it looks like it, right? Like it's big. You can see it from the highway, big old mean green sign. And so even when I very first got the job there, it was something that caught my eye immediately. As I'm pulling up to campus, I had never been in North Texas. So I'm pulling up to campus, like, whoa, man, that's awesome. Just the fact that you can see it from the highway. And so we always get a ton of recruits that come by, parents, everybody's like, yeah, we've rode through a lot, but we've never stopped here. We've never actually been on campus. But when they get to campus, man, campus is phenomenal. It's pretty big. It's not a campus that you're going to probably walk too much. A lot of people use cars, use some kind of transportation. But yeah, it's a big campus. We got 40,000 students enrolled at the
Okay.
University of North Texas, which is a huge enrollment. I don't know where that falls in the order of Texas, but probably top 6 or 7. But
Mhm.
that's a lot of students, right? 40,000 students. But yeah, man, we're really known for music. That's one of our biggest majors on campus, man. You get to looking at some of the people in the background, people that, alumni from back in the day. A lot of them are famous musicians. But as far as the basketball standpoint goes, we have, let's see, we've recruited 4 new transfer kids, right? So we got some young ladies coming in from the transfer portal that we're excited about. The
Okay.
transfer portal is a conversation every year. We always know it. And since I've been in North Texas, this is our biggest class from the transfer portal.
Okay.
So we're pretty excited about that. But yeah, man, we got one more recruit that we have to get as far as 2023 class goes, man. But besides that, just our staff is just trying to everybody's just trying to get in. Everybody's moving. Our head coach hasn't even got his house yet here in Denton yet. So everybody's just in that process of moving and trying to get comfortable. But we start workouts here in a couple of weeks. I want to say June 6th. We start workouts with our girls. But we're excited, man, just to get everybody back on the court.
Okay. Okay. And from an education standpoint, you said they're known for music. What
Yeah.
other majors tend to stick out for the athletes there?
Yeah, for as far as athletes go, I mean, we have everything. You can imagine 40,000 students, Dave. So, I mean, you have everything from sports management um, to we have some law degrees. We big business program, huge business program.
Okay.
There's a gentleman who is one of our biggest donors on campus, and the business building is huge, and it's really cool. It's one of those buildings that stands out on campus when you ride by it. There's no other building that's structured like it, right? When
Hmm.
you walk in the doors of it, when you walk inside, there's a little mini Wall Street room where they have like this little ticker that goes around the room, just kind of letting you know about all the stocks that are being traded.
Hmm.
And one thing cool that we have, and something that's really popular nowadays, man, is real estate, right? And so we have a real estate degree at North Texas, and
Man.
so yeah, it's very popular, right? All the HGTV shows and everybody wanting to get into, a lot of athletes when they get done playing, they have some money, they got some extra capital. Someone want to get right into flipping homes and making more money. And so literally we've had about 2 to 3 kids come on campus this year that have told us like, yeah, we're interested in, real estate. So recently found out that we have a real estate program, which is huge. A lot of campuses do not have that.
That is correct. Yes,
Yeah.
that's the first time I've heard that. I
Yeah.
like that. That's
Yeah.
impressive.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about, just being able to kind of go with the trends, right?
Yes.
I think professions sometimes they're trends, certain things are popular. Right now, real estate is popular,
Mhm.
just like the social media stuff. Anytime there's a new social media that comes up, it becomes the most popular thing.
Mhm.
So North Texas is just kind of growing with the times, right? And
Okay.
as you get 40,000 students on campus, you got to continue to evolve and, include more majors. And I think we've done that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's hop into the sports a little bit. What
Yeah.
conference? So for the people that don't know about North Texas, what conference are they in?
So we were previously in Conference USA.
Hmm.
Okay, so my first 3 years we were Conference USA, but now this upcoming season, 2023, 2024, we will start off in the American Athletic Conference.
That's a tough
Uh,
conference too,
yeah, which
bro.
is
Oof.
yeah, exactly. You know it, man. So, but yeah, that conference is big, man. It's got some heavy hitters in it. A couple of people that just left the conference is Houston, Cincinnati.
Mhm.
They just left the conference. But yeah, when
UAB.
you no, UAB wasn't in it. UAB was in Conference USA.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, Conference USA. Yeah. So I mean, whew, yeah, you're talking about some heavy hitters, man. So, now we have to look forward to playing SMU, which we play SMU anyway a lot just because they're so close.
Yeah.
But SMU, you got Tulane, Memphis, South Florida, East Carolina. So yeah.
That's a nice little travel right there to East Carolina.
Well, Temple too, right? Throw Temple in
Oh
there.
yeah, yes, and
Now you
Temple.
going to Philadelphia, like it's yeah, the travel's about to be a little crazy this year, man.
Yeah.
So as many charter flights as we can get is going to be beneficial to us, man.
Absolutely. And man, man, while we're getting into it, I mean, we'll jump into your roster, but man, I love picking your brain, man. So we'll talk about that as well. But tell us about your incoming freshman and your returning class as well.
Yeah, so we have one incoming freshman, a young lady named Shadeja Brackens. Man, I'm glad you asked about Shadeja. Uh, not that I forget about her at all. She's always on my mind. Talk to her a lot. But
Mhm.
man, this young lady started off. Her recruiting process was very slow. She didn't have a lot of people on her. Has a little bit of way to go for her skill development, but she's a special talent. Super coachable kid, very athletic. I'll say this on the record. I think she's gonna come into the American Conference and she may be top 2 to 3 athletic kids in the conference.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean,
I'm gonna keep that.
phenomenal. Yeah,
Keep
man.
that,
If
man. I'm
you
gonna keep
watch
that
us
in
this
mind.
year, phenomenal athlete. The young lady can dunk a basketball. Like, she is 5'11", got really long arms. Yeah, right. Not even 6 foot, right? About
Yeah.
5'11", and can dunk a basketball. You know, she had a play this past season. Not this past summer. I guess we're approaching this summer that we're coming into, as far as recruiting goes. But last summer, as we were recruiting, she had a play, and it was in California. And so she played with Team Lex.
Okay.
And in California, they're out there for like 4 or 5 days. So I stay out there the whole time. I'm just pretty much following her team, watching them play. And man, she had a play on the sideline, and I remember standing up and just kind of like, yo, it looked like she was about to dunk it, like she was about to tip dunk it.
Mhm.
Like, she just got up in the air. Dave, it looked like a play that you would see, guys playing pickup ball.
Okay.
So just a very, very athletic young lady. So that's our incoming freshman.
Okay.
Really excited about her. Comes from a phenomenal family background. She's coming in from Fairfield, Texas, which is a little small school, and she's got plenty of state titles, man, basketball and track. Like
Okay.
I said, she's a phenomenal athlete. So she is a state champion in high jump. Right,
Okay.
I forgot what she cleared, but just know that she pretty much cleared me. I'm about 5'8", so I know she cleared me. So yeah, who else we got coming in? We got a couple young ladies as far as some transfers go. Young lady coming in from Morehead State,
Okay.
um, foreign young lady, but really excited about her. A kid named Sophie coming in from Morehead State. Another young lady coming in from Wichita State. We call her Sham. Really excited about her. We think Sham is going to be one of the better defenders in the league. And the good thing about Sham is she's coming in from that American Conference.
Okay.
Yeah. So very excited about her. Far as returners go, man, we are returning a lot of our post players.
Okay.
Yeah, so far as experience goes, we will rely on our post players a lot, just because they'll be coming in with the experience from playing these past couple of years. We have a kid named Tamisha Lampkin, who is, coming out of high school. A lot of people thought she was a Power Five talent, probably is a Power Five talent. But we've been fortunate enough to keep her at North Texas. But man, she's had some monster games. She had a game last season where she got like 17, 18 rebounds.
Okay.
So she's very, very capable of going to go get it done. So yeah, we are returning quite a few players. Another kid that can fill it up bucket wise, a young lady named Jacqueline Moore. She was a transfer from Incarnate Word. So
Okay.
she'll come back, man. And like I said, this kid she can score the ball. She can score the ball. So right before we got her this past season, the season before that, their team at Incarnate Word actually made the NCAA tournament. And she had a really, really good first round. I don't remember what she scored, but a really good first round game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, so now we're going to jump into this recruitment because, a lot of people ask me these questions, and I love to get each coach's perspective on this. Let's start with this. And I mean, you pretty much said it, but I just want to reiterate it as well. A lot of
Let me say this before we go to recruiting. I can't stop here and not talk about our other two young ladies we got.
Okay.
So Burton actually, at Texas A&M Commerce, very successful program, really good. We were fortunate enough for him to bring two of his players with him too from Commerce.
Okay. So
Yeah,
two of his top players.
yeah, two of his top players, man. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so we're really excited about them. And the best thing about those two ladies is they're coming in with a connection to him, obviously, right,
Mm-hmm.
and a connection with each other. I'm really big, Dave, on I think obviously talent is talent, but I think when you can get players that know each other, you can get some of the kids from the same AAU team or
Yeah.
from the same high school team, or they just good friends. Like, I think chemistry is everything in sports, man.
Yeah.
You
That's a great
know,
point. Great
we
point.
see stuff like we all knew the big three, LeBron, you know what I mean, Bosch, D-Wade. We all knew that was a talented group, right? But the first year,
Chemistry.
it's like, why didn't they win it? Why didn't they win it? Because the chemistry wasn't there.
Yeah.
So if you can get a group of people, man, and their chemistry is together, I think it's next level, man. So I love the fact that those girls are coming in with this new head coach, joining the new staff. I think it's going to help us, you know what I mean, mend the gaps right from the beginning. Because sometimes you look in college sports, man, those first 5-6 games, people just trying to figure each other out. So I hope we can figure this out in practice. You know what I mean? And that way, by the time we hit that first, second, or third game, man, we are already, a cohesive group.
Man, you're leading me right into my next question. Because if that's the case, like you said, you want to see chemistry. And a lot of times chemistry comes with experience. And the trend is now a lot of colleges, like you said, are going to the portal. And so with that going to the portal, do you think the older kids kind of understand what it is since they've already been in this D1 or D2 or college level environment? Do you think that helps as to chemistry that you're talking about?
No, I don't. I mean, a little bit, they obviously, as you get people in the portal, they're older, right? So they're a little more mature. At least you would hope so, right? You
Yeah.
would hope that they have a little bit more experience, a little more calmness to them, right? Since they've
Mhm.
played college basketball. But I still think people are people. You know what I mean? If me and you don't really know each other, Dave, I'm not going to be super comfortable with you in our very
Yeah.
first conversation.
Yeah.
Versus another guy sit down and me and him know each other for years, and boom, right?
Yeah.
Easy conversation. So I mean, and even more, right, when it comes to playing sports, because now you got something on the line. And not
Yeah.
only is there something on the line, when we see the competitive nature come out of people, we
Hmm.
see another side of people that you don't usually see when you walk past them in the hallway,
Hmm.
right? So games on the line, we're down 5, 2 minutes to go. Your star player wants the ball in their hands. Maybe she ain't talking to that transfer so politely, right? And if they don't know each other, and maybe it's not perceived well, right? Maybe it's not taken well. So
Hmm.
I think people are people. So I think the teams that can stay with each other the longest, right, have a good chance to be better. That is one thing that I truly believe. But I think it makes coaches, man. I think it makes us implement our summers different. So some coaches, some programs, a lot of times they like to focus on individual stuff, which is fine. So you do your individual work because you need individual growth, and certain people need certain things. But if you're gonna have a boatload of new talent, let's say you get 6 new transfer kids, right?
Hmm.
Let's say you got 4 transfers, 2 incoming freshmen. Well, that's 6 new people. So what you probably have to do a little bit of in your summertime, so you can hit the ground running when we get our official practice, is you probably need more practice time, right? So
Hmm.
you probably need more structured team stuff. So now maybe it's more small groups, or maybe it's the whole group. You know what I mean? Just so they can start building that relationship. And you're probably doing more team bonding things, right?
Yeah.
You just got to be more strategic about it. Now you're taking more trips on the water, and renting a boat, and everybody's hanging out. Like, you're doing more stuff together as a team, because it's not the same as it was 10 years ago, man, when you had girls just staying on the same squad.
Absolutely. Man, and man, you're leading me into all these questions, man.
Yeah.
So when you're going out to recruit, whether it be on the shoe circuit, independent circuit, what do you look for and say that's a North Texas recruit possibly? What are the qualities and intangibles that stick out to you and make you say, oh, let me put a check next to that name?
Yeah, man, I want to, because we get asked this question a lot. So I
Mhm.
would love to have kept some video of all the time people ask me these questions and see
Uh-huh.
if my answers have ever changed. Right? 'Cause I bet you they haven't. But one thing I'm always looking for, me personally, over the years, I've learned that you want young ladies that got passion, man. Right? They
Mhm.
got some passion, and everybody shows it a little bit differently,
Mhm.
right? And you got to figure out what the passion is for that young lady. But I
Mhm.
need to see some passion. I want to see some hard work. I want to know that you are a competitor. You are trying to win. I think when we talk about all the great people that have dribbled a basketball, who play sports in general, at the end of the day, man, they are fierce competitors, right?
Absolutely.
Tiger Woods wants to win, like at any call. He's trying to win, right? Like Serena Williams is trying to win. Those are some of the greatest athletes to ever play, right?
Mhm.
You look at people like Tim Duncan. As passive as he might have seemed, Tim Duncan was trying to get a bucket, right?
Mhm.
Like, his personality might have not shown, but I'm sure when they went and sat down in them huddles and they zoomed in, sometimes you would see Tim pointing and talking to people, yeah, like just the passion. So that's what I look for personally. I
Okay.
want to see a kid that is, and that's why I love to see. I love to come to a court when it's the last 5 minutes and the game is close, because now I get to see what I'm looking for, right?
Yeah,
I get to
and
see the
that's a
passion.
great point. Yeah.
In the first 10 minutes, the first quarter, and it's all good. And some of these tournaments are starting to implement a shot clock. So I love to see the IQ that is used with the shot clock. You'll see certain kids take certain shots or get off the ball a little sooner and make the right reads because they know that they're playing with a shot clock. Versus
Mhm.
when they're not playing with a shot clock, they take 2 or 3 more dribbles and then they try to go underneath the rim versus just getting off that thing. So
Yeah.
I love to see the IQ. But my favorite part of basketball is being able to see somebody in a clutch moment. What is your passion like? Are you listening to your coach? Are you coachable? That's what I look for. Then me personally, I grew up, man, like I wasn't very skilled offensively. I was a mid-range guy. Don't disrespect the mid-range shot. Don't disrespect that. Uh, but I was a defender, man, a defender,
Okay.
right? And so the reason why I like playing defense is everybody on my team could score. I play on a really talented high school team, far as like individuals, right? These guys could go get a bucket. But when I say nobody really locked up each other, so I took that personal. I was like, well, let me lock somebody so they can all get a bucket. Let me be the guy that can stop somebody from getting a bucket.
And
And
that's
that
how you
became
add value. That's
that's
how
how
you add value.
that's
Yeah.
how you add value. So that's where my hunger comes from, man, defensively. So I'm looking for a kid that can play defensively. I want to see somebody that's not afraid to switch. Even if it's not the plan, you switch, you ride with it. You tell the other girl to keep yours. Like I want to see how that goes, right? So yeah, we're looking for young ladies that can play both ends of the basketball, looking for IQ and looking for passion, man. If
Okay.
you got that, shoot, I think you can fit the North Texas bill. I really do.
Okay. And so is it preferably somebody that you can bring in and develop, or is it somebody that you looking, or does it depend on the year that you need, like you said, that bucket, or you need that lockdown defender? How does that go?
Uh, I think that's the transfer portal part of it, right? Like
Mhm.
you got to know what you need. If you got a ton of returners coming back, let's say your team averaged 70 points, 65 points a game, and you're bringing back 40, and you probably don't need a ton of scoring already. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you already got a good amount of scoring. You're just gonna have to get somebody else that was already there to come along a little bit and add a little more to the a little bit. But just to answer your question, man, I would say, yeah, on the most part, Dave, we are just looking for the best talent. Um,
Okay.
I don't even really think it comes down to she averaged this, she averaged that, not at the high school level. Like
Yeah.
I said, in the transfer portal, that's the thing, right? We analyze them that way from the transfer portal. But high school wise, I mean, if they average a great points, awesome. But you're looking for a kid that's talented. And sometimes that does mean that they're a little raw in some areas. And you know that, and
Mhm.
that's okay. You
Yeah.
get plenty of kids, man, that go power five every year and they can't shoot the three ball. But
Yeah.
they're skilled in 1,000 other ways, right? They can
Yeah.
handle the ball, they can pass it, they can defend, they can get downhill. So high
Block
school
shots,
wise,
all of that.
yeah, block shots, like they can switch, they can do all type of stuff. So I think from a high school standpoint, you have to be open to developing. But if you're going to go get you a grad kid in the transfer portal, then
It
who
gotta be
who
plug
knows?
and
Maybe
play.
she might not even be open to developing, right? She
Yeah.
like, look, I averaged 15 at my last school. I'm gonna come here do the same exact thing. That's all I'm gonna do. And that's fine too, man. Because there was a kid here at North Texas that taught me that. I came in here, Maddie Townley, man. Maddie Townley is one of my favorite people,
Mhm.
and one of the hardest workers that I've been around. But when I got to North Texas, I'm looking at this young lady's jump shot. She's a mid-range killer like myself. I recognize a mid-range shooter. So I'm like, she got the mid-range stroke down,
Okay.
but she won't shoot the three. And I'm like, well, come on, Maddie, let's develop the three. Let's develop the three. And by the end of my first year with her, I had a chance to coach her for 2 seasons, man. By the end of my first year, she kind of looked me in the eye. I was like, look, man, I'm not developing my 3-point shot. I ain't never really worked on it, so it ain't my game. And she just knew that that was her. So I think from a transfer portal standpoint, you have to look at it that way. Like, there's going to be some kids that just don't want to develop in certain areas, and that's okay. And you have to be okay with taking them at where they are. But I think at the high school level, man, we know a kid gonna have to develop. If she's
Yeah.
coming to North Texas and she's fully equipped with everything, we probably stole her from Oklahoma State, right? Like, like, does that make sense? Like she
Yeah.
might have should have been somewhere else, and that's those kids that are like that, man. They're trying to play at the highest level, which I get it. I
But
understand.
but you know what? That's a I'm so glad you just brought that up. Man, in the days we live in now, you just said if you get a kid, let's just say she's a freshman and she's all freshman, or
Mhm.
maybe a sophomore and she's all conference. You basically got to recruit that kid again now because there's going to be especially in Texas, there's going to be a plethora of schools trying to get her.
Yeah, yeah. No, you're absolutely right, man. The transfer portal is crazy, man.
But
It has changed basketball. It really has. I mean, people say it all the time, man. When I very first heard it, I don't know who said it, but I said, "Ooh, that is so true." And the guy was just basically saying, he's like, you can't just recruit your new recruits. It's like you have to
no,
recruit your current kids on your roster.
every
And it's
year.
like every year. Yeah, like you gotta make sure people's feelings are right. Like, I mean, man, one of the most important things throughout all college basketball is your exit meeting. That is probably the end of the season meeting, right? I won't say exit, right? Because hopefully you don't leave, but like your end of the year meeting. And so at the end of the year, you want to get them things in ASAP, because if there's an issue that's a problem before she jump in that portal, you want to make sure you address it, and figure out what she's feeling. Because if you wait 2-3 weeks, that's time. That's that.
And she doesn't even have to communicate with you. She can just hit the AD and say, "Hey, put me in the portal." And because of the way the portal's set up, they have 48 hours once she puts that request in. So you're getting a shot just like everybody else is. Sometimes you guys find out by social media or your AD. Man.
Absolutely. It's happened to me a couple of times. It's just a random email, right? It's like, oh, okay, she's in there, or a text. Hey, what do you think about? I was like, whoa, I didn't even know she was in. So, but yeah, you every year you have to recruit your players, and I think the most strategic you can be is planning your end of the season meeting immediately.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Maybe a couple of days off, and then bam, I'm getting who I might know would go into the transfer portal that we want to keep. Let's have a meeting, because let's be honest, man. As young women, if they feel like you're not talking to them, they just feel like you're being like they feel neglected, right? And that's valid, but they just feel neglected. So it's not that you don't have plans on talking to them, but if you wait 2 or 3 weeks, that's time that somebody else has been in their ear, or conversation with parents, and it's like, well, hey, you haven't even met yet. Maybe they don't even want you, and then now they're going into the transfer portal. So, but it has made coaches, man, really change. It really has.
Man, that's a great point. But also on the flip side, like these kids have to understand as well that exit interview could be just as damaging for them as well. Because if they're not cutting it now it's, hey, you might want to go jump into the portal. We're going to go in another direction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, and here's the thing. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to speak for other programs, man, but I'll be honest with you. A lot of times from what I've seen, Dave, and you tell me if you agree, people that are getting let go from a program standpoint, or
they've been a problem way before.
Yeah, right.
Yes.
And like the stuff that they're getting let go for is, if I'm being honest, man, it's in their control. They have control of it, right? Like what I talked to you about having passion, right? Because if I know that you got passion for the game, for the sport, you're going to allow me to coach you hard.
Yeah.
You're going to understand that I'm a coach that has passion, right? And so you'll respect that passion coming from me. You'll take the coaching. You'll be good in practice, right? You'll be good for your teammates. You'll make everybody around you better. And then you'll be a better player and we'll be a better team on the court. But if you're not coachable, or we have things going on the practice floor, this ain't the NBA. This ain't the WNBA. We practice way more than we play games. So, like, you have to be pretty good in practice, right? And so I think those kids that don't show, the effort, or they don't show the coachability that we need, then that's where the portal is at for you, right? Now, obviously, the portal is different for the kids that are super talented and they want to go up a level, right? That's a whole nother. That's a different thing. But the people that leave the mid majors and go to another mid major or go down a level, I mean, you got to look at yourself, man. Are you being coachable? What are you truly bringing to the table, right? Because a lot of programs, man, we don't want to have to recruit 8-9 kids every year. That's no fun.
Yeah.
You don't want to have to do that. You know what I mean? If that young lady brings something, if she's just a lockdown defender, then just be that. We can coach around that. We can understand what you bring to the table, but you cannot be not coachable on the floor.
Man, I couldn't agree with you more, man. And as we winding this down a little bit, man, why North Texas? If let's just say I have a daughter and you're calling my house, and I always give you guys a chance. Why North Texas?
One, man, we're gonna have her major. Okay. Right. It's just only thing we ain't got on campus, man, is nursing. And there's a big nursing program right in our same town, Texas Women's University.
Oh, yeah, that's in Denton as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so I'm pretty sure that our two universities, they work pretty well together as far as if you want to go the nursing route. But yeah, we're gonna have your child's major, right? So we're going to be able to get her well equipped academically for where she wants to go. She's going to have all the resources she needs as well academically. Man, we have a phenomenal academic team. And this was one of my hardest adjustments coming from D2 to D1 is all the people that were around that could actually just do their job. And they had they had a specialty, right? And so
Mhm.
we got people that's their specialty is academics. So I think I know something about academics and I know a little bit, but then you go sit down and talk with them and they really know, right?
Okay.
And they know the people that you need to call and what you need to talk to, and they know what form to fill out. And so when I say that your child is going to be in great hands, you don't have to worry about, well, is practice ever going to run into her tutoring time, or is tutoring going to make her miss practice? It's not a thing in North Texas, right? It's going to work. It's going to work seamlessly together, man. Right? When they have tutoring, they got tutoring. When we got practice, we got practice. When we're on the road traveling, um, professors know like it's going to work great from an academic standpoint.
Okay.
Basketball wise, man, I've been knowing Jason Burton since 2015, 2016, 2017, maybe. So I've been knowing him since about that time, man. And one thing I can say about JB is high energy. His teams are going to always play defense. I used to, when he was at Commerce, I would say, man, this college team is the closest thing to an AAU team you're gonna see. When I tell you, like getting up and down, and not that they not gonna run plays because he gonna run plays on the offense. They're gonna have a strategy. Like he's a really good coach. But when it comes to picking you up full court, that's what they want to do. They want to shoot free throws. They want to shoot free throws at a high percentage, right? 80, 90% from the free throw line individually. And then
Mhm.
that way, when they make free throws, they can pick you up full court. Like that's his whole thing. So if your daughter is into playing fast, if the tempo of your daughter right fits us, she's gonna love it at North Texas.
Okay.
And then just the family, man, the family, the culture, the atmosphere of it. One thing I'll tell you is we just got done doing a clinic at the TABC, and the gym could have used a little energy, right? We'll just put it that way.
Okay.
And Jason Burton, man, did a great job. Grabs the microphone. First thing he does is tell everybody to stand up. Right? People kind of, on their phones, not paying attention. Hey, everybody stand up. I want everybody to high five somebody because his big thing is PTs. He's really big on physical touches. So he's like, hey, this is going to transfer energies from one another. He's like, it's going to get us all locked in and we're going to get right back into this coaching clinic. But when they did that, man, you could see the energy kind of shift. And so that's another thing I would say, man. Just your daughter's gonna have fun. She's gonna have a great college experience. You're gonna win some college basketball games. And she's gonna have fun, man. And she's gonna be taken well care of.
Okay. And one last question. I always like to ask this. I mean, I know the answer, but I still want you to project that out there. For these
Yeah,
young ladies that graduate from North Texas, do they have the opportunity to be a GA?
absolutely. Oh my God, man. I'm so glad you asked that question. So Jason Burton, man, for sure. One thing I can say about him, and this is something that I would take when I become a head coach myself, is he always hires his former players.
Wow.
Literally. One of his former players is one of our assistants now. A young lady named Princess Davis. She played for him, I want to say, for 4 or 5 years. Went overseas and played a year. And so she's on his staff now. He's done it time and time again. So I mean, that's one thing that I've always wanted to do. But then being around him, seeing him, and see how he does that, and even following him from his Commerce days, he used to do it at Commerce. So absolutely, man, absolutely, yeah. GA thing. If that's what you were interested in, and we knew that, and you were coming as a grad student, right? Or let's just say you were coming as a senior transfer, rather, and
Mhm.
hey, coach, I want to be a grad, assistant next year. That would be easy. That
That
would
yeah,
be
that
so easy.
transition would be seamless. Yes.
Yep. And one other thing, man, if your kids want to play pro, it can happen here in North Texas.
Wow.
We got three young ladies right now playing pro ball over in Europe as we speak. I won't say Europe. I think two are in Europe and another one somewhere else, but there are three playing professionally.
Surprisingly, that is a question now for these young ladies coming in. They do ask that. That's not
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
far-fetched question. Like, hey, do you have connections for me to go overseas or
Yeah.
WNBA or Canada
Yeah.
or even down to Brazil and those places as well?
100%.
They
Yeah.
likely that especially some of these serious parents that they have a pathway set for their child, and if it doesn't match that, they're like, okay, well, they may not cross you off, but they'll say, okay, he doesn't have this. And if it comes down to you in
Right.
another school, they go on with
Yeah.
that.
And another thing, man, we both know NIL is huge, right? So we
Oh yeah,
can't get off of this,
yeah.
conversation without mentioning those three letters. But NIL, man, and so I didn't even hit on this, but I mean the DFW, Dallas Fort Worth, that metroplex is more populated than like 30 states in our country, bro.
Yeah.
Just that area. It's 5 million people in that area. So like when you think about that, I mean, I know that's more people than the state of Indiana where I'm from, right? So it's more populated in the state of Indiana. But more people brings more opportunities. More opportunities brings more money, right?
Yeah.
And so I mean, you got all type of access to NIL at the University of North Texas.
And there's a lot of businesses that are very supportive of the local colleges as well, which
Yes.
brings in that money that you're referring to. And
Yes.
yes, quite honestly, we can't duck that anymore. It is what it is. That's how some schools are landing recruits off
Oh
of,
my
because
God.
just like you
Absolutely.
said, with,
Absolutely.
hey, can I go overseas? That next question, and it may be before the overseas question, hey, you
Right.
have NIL situations for my daughter,
Yes. Yeah. How could they not be signing people just strictly off the access to money? Because when me and you were growing up and somebody talked to us about our college days, although we had fun, one of the first things we would say is, man, I was broke in college. Right, man. I ate noodles every day.
Yes,
So that
indeed.
was the thing on our mind. So if you can
Yeah.
give some college kids money, why would they not take it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Hey man, we could run this for if I didn't have guests, we can run this for an hour and a
yeah, for
half
sure, for
easily,
sure.
man. And man, I appreciate you coming on. You're one of the friends of the show, man, and I always appreciate your support, man.
Well, thank you, brother. I surely appreciate it, man. And don't wait too long to have me on again, man. I know you connected. You got a ton of people, bro. But don't wait too long to have me on again. I got
Man,
one question for you, man. Before I let you go,
what's that?
who gonna win this game 7 tonight? Who you got?
Hey man, you know what? I thought it was cocky when they said, "Don't let us get one."
Mm, I didn't
Bro,
even hear him say that. They said that.
after they won the first
Ooh,
game,
don't
they
let us get
said,
one.
yeah, they said in the post game conference, "Don't let us get one," and they got it. And I was like, man, that's cocky. Y'all are getting
Right, you got 3
trounced.
more to go.
Yeah. And I'm gonna go with the momentum, man. I'm gonna go with the
Yeah,
momentum.
go with the
Just plain and
momentum.
simple. That's what it is. I mean, I know, like, if they could have closed it out last game, I'd have been like, okay, now you can't tell me they're walking into this game nervous. And it's at Boston. So unless Jimmy Butler goes insane, I don't see it.
Yeah, I'm
I
with you,
think
man.
they had their chance and I think they blew it.
Yeah, I think so too. I think we're gonna witness history tonight. We might see the first team ever come back from 3-0, man.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so too. Brother, hey man, I appreciate you, man. We're gonna be talking soon, man. And as always, man, I appreciate you, man.
yeah, no problem, brother, man. You take care. Thank you, Dave.
All right, man. You take care.
All right.
Man, listen right here. Coach Jennings, that's my guy. And sometimes we only be talking basketball. Sometimes we talking life in general. And man, when you always have those good people in the business, you always want to hold them close to you. Man, our next guest, man, I'm excited because number one, he's from Philly. I'm from Pittsburgh. So I know we're going to be talking that Philadelphia-Pittsburgh connection, and some of you people don't know, Philadelphia is basketball in Pennsylvania. I won't even say that, but understand Pittsburgh does have some players, and he will back me on that as well. But, Philadelphia is one of the hotbeds. Even though I've been in Atlanta for 25 plus years, when you start talking Atlanta, Texas, Philadelphia, DC, LA, Chicago, New York, they are one of the staples every year. And I'm sure he has plenty of stories for some of, everybody knows Kobe's from Philly, but when I was coming through, I was a couple years ahead of Rasheed Wallace. I was in 12th when he was in 9th, and Aaron McKee was actually the guy for Simon Gratz that year. They were ranked number 1, and we were ranked number 2. And we were set to play them in Las Vegas, and we both lost the game before we were supposed to play. But listen, man, I'm so excited to have Coach Sam Rhines on here from Rock Top Academy. How you doing today, brother?
Great, man. I appreciate being on the show, and it's always a pleasure.
Oh, man, thank you for coming on, man, and being supportive of the show. As I was saying, I was bringing you on. You're a Philly guy, and Pennsylvania. And one thing I always tell people about Pennsylvania, yeah, Pittsburgh and Philly could go at each other because on the flip side from basketball, Philadelphia wants to be what Pittsburgh is in high school football.
Exactly.
So if you flip that, but in the same sentence, we want to be what Philadelphia is in basketball, and it's always been that way. But when it comes down to it, if it's one of those cities are going out of state to represent, even though we all are rivals, we do come together to support and say, hey, this is still a Pennsylvania thing, man. And
Okay.
I'm sure you have so many stories, man. You know, as I was saying, you know, when I was coming through, you know, it was the Simon Gratz squad with Rashid and Herman Moore and Aaron McKee and all those guys. And, you know, we wanted to play them so bad. So, and, you know, back then, Simon Gratz and them couldn't play in the state championship back then. And so when we made it to the state, we made it to the state championship 2 years in a row. My senior year, we lost. They went right back and beat Pottstown the year after I graduated.
Gotcha.
But the Pottstowns and the York Catholics, we knew, and it's no disrespect to those guys, it wasn't Philadelphia. You know what I'm saying?
We wanted to play Aliquippa.
So definitely Aliquippa. Aliquippa's in the smaller classification,
Okay.
but when Perry and Aliquippa would play, guarantees it's a sellout.
Gotcha.
You better get there early because a lot of times that was to go to the state championship as well. Gotcha. And you know, Chester. Now we always wanted to play Chester. And you remember this name back in the day, George Junior Republic.
Oh yeah, one of my favorite young players. I gotta think of the name. He was from Chester, but he went to George Junior.
Yes, and some guys from Pittsburgh went to George Junior as well. What was his name?
Whip Cooper.
I'm not familiar with him. And they had so many players. And so there was a guy from Pittsburgh that went to George Junior, and then he came back. He was incredible. His name was Mike Ford. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. He went to George Junior and came back, and everybody was looking around like, hey, man, I don't know what they doing up there. But he's like 100 times better. And, like, he exploded on the scene, like, especially his senior year. He was averaging, like, 34 points a game. He had, like, UNLV, like, all those big schools on him as well. But, yeah, like I said, the Chesters, the George Juniors, the where's Kobe from? Lower Marion, the Lower Marions. And the Coatesvilles. Richard, what's Richard's last name? Hamilton, yes, Richard Hamilton as well. You know, those are the teams we knew about because they could play in the state tournament.
Exactly.
Like, but the Catholic and the city schools, we never got a chance to see them. But it's different now, so that they are allowed to play in it now. But, you know, we always say, man, they like 20, 30 years too late for that.
Yeah.
So,
well, I was blessed because I had Kobe and Rip on my AAU team. So,
wow. Okay.
Yeah, I had Kobe, Rip, John Linehan from Chester, Matt Carroll from Hatboro, and all of them end up being professional players. Then I came back with Kyle Lowry, Tyreek Evans, and all those guys on my AAU teams. And I was loaded. You know, I transferred from AAU into prep school because my last AAU team was Team Finals first team.
And Team Final, I mean, everybody knows about Team Final. One of my good friends from Pittsburgh, his son was DJ Gordon that played for Team Final. That's his dad. Me and his dad grew up together. So, and as well as the point guard, what's his name? Isaiah Wilson. Isaiah Wilson that went to Richmond, but he's at Winthrop now. So, unfortunately, you guys get to eat off of that because Pittsburgh doesn't have an AAU team. So all those guys go to Final, All Ohio, New York Wrens, Team Durant, and I've been screaming about that. Like
I think if J.O. Strite would have kept his program, Pittsburgh would have been fine because I lost. Like I'm really from suburbs, so I always had Chester guys, and I had Coatesville, Low Marion. I had all these guys on my teams, and you know when we played in the Keystone State games, you know, that was our way of seeing who else is out there. That allowed us to see everything from Harrisburg on out. And all the Harrisburg kids used to play for us too. So,
definitely. When you say like Harrisburg, where did Billy Owens go to school at?
Carlisle,
all that. There's still that Harrisburg area. Like there was some really good teams out there. And like for us, when you start to get outside of Pittsburgh, I know you were outside of Aliquippa. You remember the smaller school, Farrell. Farrell had a lot of good players as well. And, you know, you got to see those guys, you know, really, you had AAU, but AAU was different back in the day. But you had you had the Keystone games for us. So as you said that, I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Well, Pittsburgh used to bring guys to the city to play. They used to bring guys to Sunny Hill.
Yes.
You know, to come play. So I met like Darrell Porter.
Yes.
A couple
we
other
went
guys.
To the same high school.
Yep. Yep. I met those guys early in my career, and when he became a coach, we all, me and Kenya, we all became good friends.
Yeah.
We're still friends, even though Darrell is out the game, but we're still friends.
No, oh yeah, and so but like I said, I have no problem saying this. Like that Philadelphia for us is the mecca. Like, and since you're connected, everybody knows in Pittsburgh, the Hill District is the mecca for basketball. So if you're from Pittsburgh and somebody says, I don't know the Hill District, you're going to look at them and say, hey, he's not from Pittsburgh. He might be from the outskirts somewhere, but he's not from Pittsburgh. Like, that's where you get your chops at. Like, like you said, with the Sunny Hill League, you had the Kennard League on the Hill District, which was a smaller version of Sunny Hill. And Sunny Hill goes all the way back to when Kenny Durrett was coming to Philly and playing for LaSalle, and that's how we started to hear about that. Like, I was barely born, but we always heard well, Kenny went to LaSalle, and then you play in the Sunny Hill League, or if you wanted your cred outside of Kennard, you would go to Sunny Hill and play.
I didn't know Kenny was from Pittsburgh. I went to LaSalle. That's the crazy part. So,
yes,
I played at LaSalle.
Yes, he is.
As much as I heard about Kenny and seen the highlights, I didn't know he was from Pittsburgh.
Yes, he is. He's from Shenley High School. You know about Shenley High School.
Yeah.
So, and Shenley was, even though they closed it with a whole nother topic, but, that's where Maurice Lucas and all of those guys came from. Like, that's when Pittsburgh was rocking, where you had Shenley and Fifth Avenue that was playing in the state every year.
Oh, I remember Shenley when they played Abington back in 74 or 75, 76.
Yes. I always say at the Civic Arena.
So, we always had them battles between us, in Johnstown and other areas where they to match up. So,
and so you're the director of Rock Top. Tell me some more about Rock Top, man. What you doing there?
So Rock Top, let me tell you a little how I started. Like I said, I was an AAU guy at first. So when I got into the prep game early, and I modeled my prep school after IMG, which I wanted to go strictly basketball academy, more than education, because there was a need for basketball, and there was a million schools. So I was able to be on the forefront of that, where you see a lot of basketball academies now adopting education from other people. We were one of the first.
Yeah.
Now,
so basically, we're taking it NetSac style. So if we're going to go older, NetSacs, right?
Yeah. So our competition back in the day used to be like Notre Dame Prep and, IMG and a couple bigger schools and Redemption. So back then I used to have Rise Academy, which RISE Academy, and I had like DeLon Wright, Kyle Kuzma, and all those guys. So every year we would have 8 to 10 Division I guys. Then all of a sudden you start seeing this basketball academy, and they just started popping up. Anybody that had a gym was trying to do prep school.
Yep.
So I took a step back. I reinvented myself. I brought my son on board, and he was the modern guy. He was the guy that had all the technology with the videos. So we had videos before anybody else, highlights before anybody else. We were streaming our own games instead of waiting for, it wasn't no baller TV. And everything else. So my first player was Pop Smoke, the rapper.
Okay.
So it was weird because, he was young. I was trying to do high school, and I never knew he was trying to be a basketball player. Well, put it this way. He was the okay basketball player, but I knew I needed better in order to compete in this prep world. Otherwise, I wasn't going to be able to compete. So it took me about maybe 3 or 4 years to start getting back to where I was with the Rise Academy compared to Rock Top. Now, I'm getting kids from all over the world. I'm very versatile as far as race and everything else goes. And we're probably going to have 2 teams this year, if not 3. And we play probably close to 100 games, which is unheard of from any school, because we understand there's a need to stay on the court for kids to get better. So if we try to compare prep school to, say, JUCO or going somewhere and redshirting. I wanted our prep school to be a better experience than going to JUCO or going and redshirting your freshman year at a college. Mm-hmm. So I knew I had to give more. So we doubled up on our gym time. You know, we spend 4 or 5 hours in the gym, you know, with individual training and a little bit of team stuff, but more individual training, getting stronger, getting bigger. We also spent more time playing more games all over the country to offer more exposure because, you know, this climate of the transfer portal, just like the other guy said earlier from North Texas, it's tough because now you're being compared to freshman, sophomore. You're being compared to junior college sophomores. Everybody had their COVID year, which now that's another problem.
Yeah.
So now you have prep school guys coming in and they're saying, well, we're not looking at high school guys. Meanwhile, I might have a prep school guy that's 19, 20 years old. They are not high school guys. And I had to convince guys that. So I had to throw out a lot of videos and a lot of information out there to college coaches. And I was lucky because my son was able to get a contact list that had all the college coaches' names and numbers and emails and Twitters and, you know, everything else. So I'm sending it to him directly, unavoidable.
Yeah.
You know, I can actually see if they open up the stuff. So instead of these kids paying $4,000 for their NTSA and all that other stuff, and I'm not going to talk dirty about them, but, you know, it's something that you can do on your own, put it that way. You don't have to pay that $4,000 for them to promote you.
And I agree with that. But let me say this. So, you know, and like you said, we're not here to bash anybody. But yes, you can take some of this and, you know, you can control some of your own narrative, as you're saying. Yes. But I will say this as well, and you'll understand what I'm saying. Yes, you can do that, but also it takes somebody like yourself or me. When you send it, it gets opened a lot faster because of your reputation and you have a relationship with this guy as of the hundreds of emails that they may get of people that are trying to, you know, take it into their own narrative. So I never discourage that, but I also do say, hey, you understand that some of them are getting 300-400 just a day, depending on if it's a Power 5 or if it's a mid-major or even a low D1, they're getting multiple emails. So some of them will refer to their GA and say, hey, take a look. If you come across a diamond, let me know. But as you know, sometimes parents, as we say, have on their parents' glasses or their parent goggles. And they're like, oh, my baby's this. And you know as well as I know, and you already said it, like, Pop Smoke may have been a great player or a good player, but for what you were trying to do, it wasn't, and that's no disrespect to him. And that's when we try and get parents to understand there's nothing wrong with going D2. There's nothing wrong with going D3 or NAIA. Shoot, right now in this climate, there's nothing wrong with going to these Canadian colleges. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And you know, in JUCO D1, D2, D3, like my guy Riley May at Harcum on the women's side. I mean, he got a killer program right there. But you know, sometimes people sit up there and be like, "Oh, it's JUCO D2," and I'm like, "Do you understand JUCO D2s in that area will be the number of JUCO D1s
all day?"
Yeah, and so you know, sometimes it's just a misconception. I'm not going to say the ignorance, but it's just that they don't know and parents don't know. And it's that D1 or bust mentality. And I always ask, well, what are you trying to do? What's the end game? Are you trying to go pro? Are you trying to take this and, you know, go overseas? Are you trying to just get a degree? And you know as well as I know, it becomes, oh, well, I'm trying to go overseas. Okay. Do you understand when you go overseas, every team is not cut the same? You may go over there and may just get $1,500 a month.
If that.
Yeah, if that. But look, I'm trying to be nice when I say it. But they're like, wait, $1,500 a month? Yeah, because they're in their mind, they're thinking they're getting EuroLeague money where they're getting $800,000, $1 million. Yeah. No, bro, you starting out in that's not even JV. You're beyond freshman. You're like in 6th or 7th grade league. So you're barely getting paid. And so you quickly find out what it is and how hungry you are, if it's going to work or not. And so when I explained it to that, the parents are like, oh, well, wait, I thought, no, that's why I'm trying to tell you, you need to have an alternative game plan.
And plus it takes a village, because
absolutely,
if I don't know guys like you and JUCO platform and prep school platform and this Phenom Hoops and
yes,
this scout that. So if you don't play in their events and you don't play in front of those guys, they don't see you.
And I saw your team down at Phenom.
Oh yeah, you need to be co-signed.
Uh-huh.
So you promote your product, and then you wait for people such as coaches, scouts, and other college coaches to promote your product.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And they're not going to promote all your product. They're going to promote the most productive on your team.
But the most productive opens doors for the rest of the team.
All day.
Because to your point, I saw you and I was like, who's this team? And I'm going through the media guide, like, I've never seen that. Oh, okay, they're from back home. And, now I'm doing my research just by, I'm walking by the court. I was like, I've never seen those guys before. Okay, cool. And now, hey, have you heard of Rock Top? Oh, yeah, they're up north. Yeah. And I was like, oh, man, I'm slipping. I missed that one. You know what I'm saying? And it takes, like you just said, had I not been at Phenom, I would have missed you. Like, sure, now that I know who you are, now I can call the plethora of postgrads. Hey, man, do you know this guy? Yeah, oh, that's my guy, this, that, and the other. And now it makes you more comfortable. Whereas if it's, forgive me for saying this, when it's a mom and pop shop, they're like, nah, I never heard of that one.
Or
I'm like,
startup,
but yeah, you have to be careful, because if you invest into those guys, they're here in September and gone in December. You know what I mean?
Well, they try to undercut you in this business, in prep school business. They try to undercut you to believe they can do a lot more with less. You can't. There's a bottom line number that they got to charge you, which is over 10,000. Otherwise, you're not going to be traveling. You're not going to play a lot.
You're going to play regional.
Yeah, you'll play regional, and you'll live in bunk beds and everything else. And I hate to say it, because I've seen it. I've been there. We every year I hear about it, and we try to get better. Like, not all prep schools, they start off thinking they can do it, but they got to get better. And I tell them, I'm like the OG, the godfather of this stuff. And I tell all the coaches that I know, like, listen, if you want to stay in business, do it the right way. You're not going to make a lot of money. You're going to sacrifice. It's not about winning. It's about development more than anything else.
Man, I should clip that right there, because I tell all of them, listen, nobody remembers if you were 45-10 last year. Nobody remembers that. The big number for them is how many people did you place?
Yep.
But to them, we beat Rock Top by 20 last year. We blew them out.
Yeah.
Okay. But Rock Top placed 11 kids.
There you go. I say it every year to those coaches. And they'll put me on Instagram and Twitter, rocket by baby. And, I'm saying, listen, I got 2 high majors. They went to Division I. They didn't even play AAU, but they got scholarships. Where you going? And then that same player hit me up a month ago saying, can I help you?
I didn't tell them from that team. The players from that team that beat you said, Coach, by the middle of the season, hey, you got an open spot. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And oh man, listen, we could go this route for a good hour easily, because unfortunately, postgrad's getting a bad name because of what you just said. And it's not that some of these guys are bad people. It's just their business acumen isn't there, as you just said. Like, there's a bottom line. That was a great line you just said right there. Like, they all believe they can do it for under 7 or under 6, or under 5, or they could scholarship 5 kids and only have 5 payers. You know as well as I know. That means all your games are going to be within 2 hours. Of where you're at. And you're not staying overnight. You're going up there and you're coming home. Outside of that, this is not going to work. And they will debate me time and time again. Okay, all right. And I say this, play in my event in January. Let's see if you're there. Or if they are still around, they don't have the registration fee, to play. And so you're like, yeah, you know what it is. You already
that $300 a night hotel. Now you sleeping 6, 7, 8 in a room. And the first thing the parents are going to say is, "This is not what we signed up for."
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Boy, you preaching the word today. I'm telling you, because these guys, and like you said, you've been around this for years, so you know. And unfortunately, some of them do talk a good game, but I don't care how good you talk, it's going to catch up with you, whether it's this year or next year. If you're fortunate enough to get past next year, now you got so much negative press, like you said, from parents, because they'll say, like you said, this isn't what I signed up for.
Yeah. And then when you put winning in front of everything, that's the biggest thing. We can't be IMG. We can't. We don't have that surplus money to formulate.
And those are my guys down there. And a lot of them are from PA too.
Yeah,
that's the crazy part. A lot of them are from PA.
And I tell the kids, listen, if you can go there for free, go there.
Yeah.
I'm always going to do what's best for the kids. Yeah. And I think I've been blessed to stay in this business because I always did what was best for the kids. Mm-hmm. And just like you said, you're not going to win a lot of games, with Division III guys or Division II guys, because you're dealing with parents that look at a different lens and might see something differently, and you don't see what's out there because you don't travel and you don't go to the EYBL, you don't go to the Under Armour tournament or the Adidas tournament, and some of those kids, they think they're that good where they don't have to pay, and guys are taking these kids left and right, and these kids are getting screwed because they're not able to be seen the way they want to be seen. Mm-hmm. And now with this portal stuff, they're stuck going to JUCO and everything else. And I'm going to tell you something. As much as I love the JUCO route, that's a very hard route to get out of, because sometimes they don't play the right way. I had a kid that went to a D1. He left to go to JUCO. He thought it'd be easier, and man, he passed the ball, never see the ball back. He's complaining every game. And I said to him, I said, listen, why didn't you stay? Why didn't you fight through it and just maybe wait your turn? Because sometimes it's just better to wait your turn. Everything is not going to be glam and glory your first year in Division I. And now you're looking from the outside in, thinking, how can I get back in? Now he's going to get back in because of, who we are.
But we live in a different time now.
Yeah.
And with us living in a different time, sometimes the old school method doesn't relate to these younger kids because they want it now.
Yeah.
They want it now, and they're not trying to wait. And they've seen kids go from high school to pro, or kids go and start as a freshman in college and become All-Americans. Yes, that is a rarity. So, but in their minds, I could be the next Kevin Durant. I could be the next LeBron. And what's wrong with being that kid that becomes a productive player his junior or senior year? There's nothing wrong with that. Yep. But they look at that as, oh, that's for suckers. No, he doesn't mean he can't play. What? What do you mean he can't play? Like, he's an All-American his senior year. It just took him some time to develop. Exactly. And that's the key word right there. Like, you don't know when that light bulb is going to come on for whatever kid to develop.
Or maturity. Maturity alone. I mean, everybody thinks it's okay to repeat the grade and reclass, and we start to see older guys younger, and the coaches fall for that sucker stuff. But
yeah,
eventually it pans out, because once that 18-year-old catch up to that 19-year-old.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? That 1 year gap, it makes a difference when you're in high school. But once you get to college and you start to catch up, now all of a sudden it doesn't make a difference. I'm going through that now, where coaches are telling me, oh, well, I'm looking for an older guy. So they took a guy that scored 2 points over a guy for us that averaged 28 points. Now I'm saying to myself, you took a guy that averaged 2 points at a major D1 school. What do you think he's going to average for you if he only averaged 2 points for the other school that he's transferring from?
Absolutely.
2 points.
I got a question for you, and I want to switch this a little bit, because this leads into, our previous guest as well as our next guest.
Okay.
Have you thought about, because it's coming and you see trends just like I do. Right now, I see, outside of the NETSAC, I see about 15 women's post-grad programs.
Mm-hmm.
Has that crossed your mind for Rock Top yet?
And probably every 2 to 3 weeks, I get somebody say, "Yo, you should do girls. Oh, you should do girls." I'm gonna tell you why we don't do girls.
Okay.
Number one is finding the right coach to man the girls program, because girls are different to guys, and you can't have them together. I got to be able to separate them, you know, to make sure there's no issues, no problems, no conflicts.
Yeah.
Part two, and it's crazy you say girls, because I got a girl that's she just came back from Colorado Springs today, just tonight. And she's not going to leave her high school. But if she could find somewhere to play that's going to provide her better competition, push her and motivate her.
Call me after the show.
Yep.
Call me after the show.
She said it. So we were thinking about moving to Florida. Too expensive. Didn't want to do it. Didn't want to take that chance of, you know, starting a new program down there. If we did it here, we're still elbowing, because you have the prep schools like the Hill School and
I have to. We'll talk after the show.
Yeah, you understand it.
We'll talk after the
academic schools where people are not necessarily looking for the academics, because most girls have them. They're looking for the basketball.
Yes.
And if I can somehow find the right women's coach to man my girls program in 2024-25, that's something I would be looking at.
I would look at, and I know we're off script a little bit. I'm sure you know, like the Philly Bells coaches, and
I don't know. My road dog is the one that runs the Philly Rise program.
Yeah, and Philly Rise, Rise and the Bells.
Hey,
so
me and him graduated together, and we talk all the time, and it's just different. It's just, you know, everybody got a different agenda, and it's hard to find somebody that shares the same mind, you know, development, training, repetition, and all the little stuff that we do to separate us from Rock Top from any other basketball program. Everybody want to run before they crawl. You know, we're crawlers. We're crawlers here. We take our time, and then we got to look at, okay, who can we play? Are we playing JV teams? I mean, are we playing Harcum, you know, junior college and Monroe and
CCBC?
Yeah. You know, Monco and you know, we can look at a nice 40-game schedule for them and be satisfied, or are we going to go all out and play PHH Prep, IMG, DME, and all the big boys, you know, all over the country, and make it a bigger program?
Now, you're going to agree with me on this as well. It's evident post-grad is here to stay, right? We're at the point now where, and this is no shade to nobody, but I know you're going to agree with me on this. NETSAC is NETSAC. I get that. And, you know, they tend to like to try and keep their everything in-house. We're getting to the point with, you know, like you said, there's IMG, there's PHH, there's Sunrise, there's Mount Zion down in Maryland, like there's Putnam Science, like there's some big boys, there's Linkyear, like there's some big boys out here now that are very good. You got Golden State Prep and Prolific Prep out in California. We're to the point now, like, if we're going to do this, everybody has to be on board for a national post-grad championship. Now, understand, like, yes, I saw you at Phenom, so I knew what it was. Yes, you have big shots as well, and you got some other national tournaments, but I think you can agree we're to the point where this has to be reeled in and make it one big boy and not just one of many national tournaments.
Well, to be honest, they're not inclusive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I hate to say it, but as a Black-owned prep school, they're not always inclusive, and I'm not in the ass kissing to get what I want, because I don't need them.
Yeah.
Most of the time, you're dealing with guys that never picked up a basketball, never played, trying to scout the kids, and they don't always get that same respect as a guy that played because they can't talk basketball.
Yeah.
So what they do is they get the information from Under Armour or Nike, or they all they want to do is just deal with the same kids and constantly spit out the same information about the same kids. How about dealing with a diamond in the rough? How about dealing with somebody that you don't know
Hidden
that hasn't
gems.
played
Yes,
center in
sir.
high school, that's
Yes,
really a
sir.
guard, and he changed his game to be a guard, but you didn't know him because he played center in high school, and he
Yep.
didn't make the team, the sponsor team, or none of them, because it was politics.
I think we're on the same page. I mean, to be honest, there's at some point, like you said, it's going to happen. Like I don't see you going another 2 or 3 years without a girls program. That's number one. Number two, the men's side just has to get to the point where we're getting to the point post grad is here to stay, and it's not just NetSac and a bunch of good independents out there. There's some really good teams out there that can play. Outside the military academies too. The Macedons, the Hargraves. All of those guys, the Fork Unions. Like outside of those guys, like there's some other good teams out here that have to be respected. And before it was, oh, this is kind of the boys' club, this, that, and the other. But now it's like, no, like I tell them, I'm like, hey, I've seen you play. I've seen them play. I've seen them play. I've been in Texas. I've been in Florida. I've been in Georgia. I've been in Mississippi. I've been all over. So you can't tell me, oh, this team isn't better than ours. That's hearsay. And you could run with that. But in the day and age of information, and for me, just flat out seeing with my own eyes, I'm like, no, y'all not better than those guys. You're not better. And, sometimes they could take it. Oh, what do you mean?
Well, let me tell you what the problem is. The problem is what we talked about earlier. It's the money. So you got to be able to fly to this group, that group. Like OT is doing a good job of getting teams to join that network.
Yes,
but
and which is going to be big.
You got to have the money, in order to join that network.
Yes,
for it to be beneficial to other guys that can't make those teams. And it's not worth me going up to Hoop Hall to play at 8:00 in the morning against a team that I can play anytime, any place, anywhere. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But I will go down to Phenom Hoops and play, because he's giving me who I'm going to play against. You're going to play combine on the main court.
Yep.
What more can I ask for?
Yeah.
IMG, we're going to play IMG the day before the tournament starts. So as long as I get what I want and I got the videotape rolling, that's all I can ask for, because the coaches aren't necessarily coming to the games because they have their own games. So you got to have very good game tape in order to show these coaches how your kid look in comparison to other Division I kids or kids looking to get scholarships and everything else. So let's be honest, it doesn't always pay for me to play against a bunch of smaller programs in Georgia. But the reason I do it, and I went down to Skills Factory.
TSF, yes.
Because I understand there's a different brand of basketball that my kids got to get accustomed to. And I know there's kids that's going to play hard and play their heart out in order to prove that they can play at that level, because they watched us on social media and they knew who we were. And they might not play us. But like I said, the difference is guys like you and myself being able to promote those kids properly to help those kids, and I'm quick to give up the tape. I'm quick to let guys, you need the tape. I see you the tape. I see you the link. I put it on YouTube because I want it to be public. I don't chop it up and, they block the shot. So what? Who cares? Everybody's not going to play perfect.
Yep.
And I had two prolific players this year, mid-high level players, and the amount of scholarship offers and the attention that they got, it paid off, because we were able to constantly put the information out, and they had zero backgrounds. So I did my job. One kid signed with the Wasserman Group, which is the top 3 agencies in the country as far as sports agencies for his NIL. So they obviously saw something well before these head coaches start offering, and now it's literally paying off because he put himself in the right situation at the right time to get what he wants. So I'm not depending on the assistant and his relationship with EYBL, and I'm going to the head guy because eventually he's going to see what I'm putting out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And bottom line is the head guy is the one making most of the moves anyway. And we heard from probably this year, maybe 200, 250 coaches, Division I. Division II, probably, I don't know, maybe 100. Division III, probably like 300. JUCOs, we heard from every JUCO. Every D1 JUCO we heard from.
Because
you know, they're vultures. They're like saying, if your kid don't get what he want, we're right here. They know how to recruit because they're saying the right things.
What about the NAIs?
JUCO, 100%, because they're always right there.
The NAIs are there with you too?
Not as much as they were. Now the NAIAs is tough because, like, I had a couple kids last year that probably could have went Division I, and their heads got turned by the NAIA schools. So they're the last ones I contact because they don't respect the game. Not all of them. I don't want to say all of them, but respect the game first. Go through the coach. Don't go to the kid. You know, and Twitter, it allows you to go directly to the kid when I'm telling the kid, like, listen, just be patient. Let's get this grade done, and you'll go Division I. Instead, the NAIA coach lied to the kid, oh, you're going to come here and play point guard. He was a 6'8" power forward. So why is he lying to you, talking about you're going to play point guard? He gets to the school, didn't even start. He's playing power forward.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All that for a player. And that's not fair to me or him because he never got the chance to benefit being in prep school. So I don't like to send my kids out too early in the prep school game because if you send him out too early, he might not be at that level, or he might be overwhelmed, or you know, guys see stuff early. So, you know, it's tough. Like you can't just send your kids out. You got to know what they are, and you got to be transparent about it and say, listen, son, you're a Division III player. Because Division II schools want Division I players. So say you think you got to be a Division I player to go Division II these days.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to be a Division II player to go Division III. You know what I mean?
And NAIA want Division I guys.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Especially the top ones. So I'm not mad at any coach or anybody how they do things, but I just do things in a different order. Like I give everybody the phone numbers, let them deal with the kids after a certain point because I did my job. I'm letting them know what they are, and then I let them pick their own options.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then, you know, I let them know. You can talk to this scout. You can talk to that scout. You can go to this jamboree. You can, you know, go to JUCO All-American thing. You can, you know, work out for the schools. That's up to you. You know, the on-campus evaluation thing is big now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Hey, man, listen, man, you put some big game out there for people. And, you know, you're pretty much reiterated a lot of stuff I go crazy about, especially on the post-grad side. You know, and yes, post-grad is still evolving, but, you know, people that don't know, the first thing I'll say is do your research. That's number one. Do your research. And then don't be afraid to ask these coaches questions and do your research on the answer as well to see if it adds up to what they're saying.
Listen, if you don't see those games online, that means they're either not taping them or not playing them. So all you have to do is say, who do you play? Let me see a couple games. If he can't send you no links, that's not the place to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. Yeah. Hey, man, you know we're going to be talking a lot more over these next couple of months, man. I appreciate what you're doing up there, but it's expected. You're a PA guy, so I wouldn't expect anything less. You know what I mean?
Hey, listen, I got love for the ATL, love for Texas. You know, I'm a city guy. You know what I mean? So
definitely.
So in order for kids to get out of the city and to see what's out there, you got to self-promote. That Twitter is real.
Yes.
There's a lot of coaches on Twitter. It's real. Get on there. Guys like yourself, you know, doing individual stuff for kids and jamborees for teams. You got to get your coaches to go to this stuff. You guys got to get out there and play. If you don't play in front of the coaches, don't expect for it to just happen. It's not going to happen.
Man, you said a word full there, man. I'm definitely mouthful. It's just something, you got to understand why you're going to post grad. You're going for exposure and you're going to develop. Those are the two things you're going for.
Yep.
If they tell you you're going for anything else outside of making up some of those classes that you might have had issues with, the two core classes, if they tell you anything other than that, it's a lie. Those are the three things they're there for, plain and simple. If it's anything else, they're feeding you garbage.
Yep, all day.
And they're feeding you garbage. Hey, man, listen, I appreciate you. This will
I know I
be the
went
last
over.
time
I'm
you have on
sorry
the
for
show,
going
man.
over the time, and we're gonna talk. If you want me back on the show, I'm always willing.
Definitely,
definitely, God willing, and just let me know, man. Good luck. You're doing a great thing for these kids and the parents, and I'm gonna share your platform as well.
Man, I appreciate it, man. We'll be talking real soon. We'll be talking tonight probably about some of the stuff we talked about. All right, you take care.
All right, baby. Talk to you.
All right, listen, man. Coach Ryan, man, you guys up north, check him out. Check out Rock Top. I did have the chance to see them. I'm going to be on him about that girls program because he does such a good job on the men's side that he really should. And there's really good basketball in Philadelphia as well on the girls' side. Man, my next guest is my guy, HBCU representative. He's right there in the middle of the heart of it all as a HBCU in pretty much downtown Houston, Texas. My guy, Coach Art Bogan from Texas Southern University. How you doing today, brother?
I'm great. About yourself?
Oh, man, I'm good, man. I apologize for going over, man, and you being patient, man.
No problem at all. Let me try to adjust this camera so y'all can see a face of somebody. Let me need to take the hat off.
Take the hat off.
Okay, there we go. I'm just dark.
Okay, I got you. Listen, man, for the people that don't know about Texas Southern, I mean, unless you're under a rock, it's in the SWAC. It's in the heart of downtown Houston. And for people that don't know, a lot of HBCUs, they're either in the middle of nowhere or they're not in the best of places. At Texas Southern, you are in the heart of Houston, the heart. And, and we talked about this a number of times. You're going to get players sometimes just off of that, being in that urban setting that people thrive for. Houston is one of the major metropolises in the country.
Right.
You had UH, which is right next to Texas Southern as well. And, sometimes a lot of people will say, I had no idea. Or with me being from up north, fortunately, I've been all over the place, so I know about Texas Southern. But, you have people thinking, I can't go to Texas Southern. It's out there by PV. No, it's not. It's downtown Houston. Have you been to visit? Have you talked to coaches? And a lot of times that's how you get to sign some of these players, because once they get on campus, they're like, oh, I can do this. Things is happening down here, and the fact that it's a good school. So for my people that aren't in that area, that's why I brought you on, because I wanted that Texas Southern platform to be shared in the Midwest and on the East Coast. And let's talk Texas Southern. First of all, who is Texas Southern and what is Texas Southern? Let's start there.
Well, I mean, the first thing that you did hit on is that we are HBCU. We are located in the heart of Houston, Texas. It's over 7 million people here, so we are in one of the biggest cities in the United States, and so great academic institution. We were rated #1 in Texas for doctoral degrees for African American students. So that's a huge thing for us. Not only is it a place where you can come for academics, but it's also a place that not only a place for athletics, but it's also a place that where we're going to make sure you leave here with a degree. That's one of the things that I definitely love and enjoy about our athletic director, VP Granger. He's a former basketball player. He's in the same class as Kenny Smith coming out of college. He led the nation in scoring, and so we actually have a guy that's been on this campus, that's lived on this campus, that was that person. So he a lot of the experiences that the student athletes have hits home with him. And so, and he's Dr. Granger because of the degrees that he has. And so it's very clear under his leadership of the entire athletic department that degrees are the utmost importance for any kid that we bring into campus. And so,
I lost you, I think.
We excited about being here. This is this was my first year here, coming in with Burnett Skeet as the head coach here, and she's done a great job of putting together a good staff to where we complement each other. We all bring different things to the table. Can you hear?
I can hear you. Yes, I can hear you.
Miko?
I can hear you. There's a little bit of lag, but I can hear you.
Are we good?
Okay, I can hear you now. Yes.
Making sure we're good.
Okay, yeah, we're good. You can go ahead. You cut out now. I can't hear you. Give us 1 second. Looks like there's an issue on here on his end.
So,
can you hear me now?
I don't know if. Okay.
Okay, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Good. All right.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. And so, just the number of degrees that we offer, a great law department. Law school is so just a lot of opportunities, a lot of entrepreneurs walking campus. That's what cutting in and out.
Okay, I can hear you now. It seems like it's like about a 3 to 5 second lag on your end. Can you hear me now?
Okay. It still sounds like it's a little bit choppy.
Yeah. I hear you good, but it's just a lag when you're coming back.
Can you hear me? Is it
I can hear you
clear?
I can hear you clear. I can hear you very clear. It's just when you start talking and then it'll stop for a second and go for like 3 to 5 seconds of not hearing you, and then it comes back.
Parents.
See, there's the lag again. Okay, can you hear me? I can hear you now. Can you hear me? It looks like there's still a little lag on his end. We're going to work through this while we get him together. Give us 1 second here.
Okay.
I apologize. What? Can you hear me now?
Let me do this.
Okay.
Make sure. Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Let me make sure I don't have anything on that's contributing.
Like right now, I hear you fine. You sound great. But when you start talking, like let's say you go in for you start talking for 5 to 10 seconds, a lag will hit, and then I won't hear you. I can see you, but I can't hear you.
Right. Right.
We're gonna let Coach Bogan work it out. We're gonna stay patient while we get him together. Can you hear me now? It looks like there's still a lag.
Is it any? Give me one sec.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
Try some. Right.
There's still a lag. I can't hear you right now if you're talking.
Right. Okay. I am.
Okay, I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
I think it's. Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay, and it sounds like that lag is pretty good. Like it's not that good. I mean, so I can hear you pretty good now, and it's pretty much simultaneously. Can you hear me now? Oh, there's still a lag.
Froze again.
Okay, yeah, it's like it's freezing, and it'll freeze, and then for a couple seconds, and then it'll come back.
I can hear you.
I just heard you, so I can hear you periodically, but when you start talking, it'll freeze, and then it'll come back like maybe 4 to 8 seconds later. So when you go into starting to talk, I can't. You'll start talking, and then you'll cut out, and then you'll come back like a couple seconds later.
Yeah. What about now? Is that clear? Is it still lag there?
Now I hear you perfect. I hear you perfect now.
Okay.
Okay. Yep. So right now I hear you perfect. Say something right now.
Okay. Okay. Sound
Yep,
like
I got you.
ready
Yep,
to go.
we're good now. We're good.
All right. Man, sorry. I am I have a couple of coworkers that always coaches that always tell me that I need to close up things on my computer.
Okay.
Tonight tomorrow they'll be enjoying the fact that me leaving all those windows open on my desktops, on my laptops and stuff is not a good thing. So
yeah, I got you good now. I got you perfectly now. So that probably was the case. You probably have multiple windows open there.
Yeah, quite a few things. Quite a few things. I am a I need to get better at using my bookmarks.
Yes, that'll save you from that perspective. But now, yeah, we're good now. I hear you perfectly, crystal clear now.
Good.
Okay,
Yeah.
so before you broke up, you were talking about the president, and you were talking about him being a former athlete as well, and then that's when I lost you after that.
Right. And so what I was saying about VP Granger is that, like I said, he played here at TSU. His son is actually on the men's basketball team as well. And during his senior year, at TSU, VP Granger actually led the nation in scoring.
Okay.
And so he'll still tell you to the day, YouTube him. He was a bucket. And so, I appreciate that about him. But the biggest thing, man, is just his desire to see young Black people have success, man. And that's what excites me about him being the leader of this athletic department. Where he challenges us to make sure that we have everything that we need to be successful. And so we actually have a coaches retreat for the athletic department tomorrow that, we'll get away from campus and go spend some time together and rejuvenate as athletic department, and give him an opportunity to talk about new plans that he has in store for the athletic department, and his vision for us as we continue to move forward.
Okay. So let me ask you this. So, with TSU being a D1 program in the SWAC conference, when you're out recruiting, exactly what are you looking for? What's a TSU style player that interests you? Because, we talk all the time, sometimes, and one thing I want to be clear, and I'll say this on the show, like sometimes we can talk and I can see a player that it may not interest you, and may not be a fit for TSU. And I always like to say that because I don't want it to be the narrative that like every person is going to be a fit for TSU.
Right. David, since I've been in coaching, man, I have preached that to families. The last guest that you had on, he's in AAU basketball and high school basketball. So I used to have AAU basketball program. One of the things that I always preached to my kids is that before the transfer portal even was invented, I told kids all the time, people from Duke men's basketball team are transfer. And they transfer because they went to Duke because of the name, and they found out it wasn't the fit for them.
Correct.
Right. And so I had a young man that played for me in junior college that went to one of the Blue Bloods, and they robbed him of all his joy for basketball while he was there for 2 years. Completely robbed him of it. And it was because he went there because of the name, not because of the fit. He didn't put the time in and the work to see, okay, does their style of offense fit me as a player? How they play on defense, is that going to allow me to play, or is that going to put me on the bench? And so all of those little small things that in recruiting that players and their parents overlook and get caught up in the name. And once they get there, they realize, man, this was a terrible fit for me. I made a horrible decision. And and you see it over and over and over again. Coaches are talking about the transfer portal. The transfer portal, it is a two-part thing. It is a two-part thing because we're not being honest with these kids as well about how they fit into our systems. And we're just taking kids that don't. And then when they get there, the kid is upset, and we're wondering, why did we bring them here and they don't even fit what we're doing, right? And so,
great point.
Right,
great point.
As coaches, you got to get on your job, like do a better job of identifying what fits your system and your program, right? That's one of the things that I appreciate about our head coach. She's transparent in all of that. It is laid out for a position. Everything that you need to do within our system to be successful for every position in our system, right? And so it leaves out the questions, right? One of the things that she talks about all the time in recruiting is that we're not having conversations about playing time. We can talk about your development at any point in time, because we're going to lay out to you what you need to do to get on the floor. Are you doing those things? Are you doing those things? If you come in here and you're doing those things to put yourself in a position to be successful at them, then you're going to have opportunities to play. But if you're not, then you're going to find yourself on the sideline with me. And so, it's wide open. We don't hide from it. We're going to tell you this is what you need to do to be successful. at the center spot, at the 4 spot, at the 3 spot, at the shooting guard spot, and at the point guard spot. It is very transparent of what is expected of you. And so you don't come in here and you're a ball screen heavy player and we run in motion the whole game.
Now,
right? Like how did that happen? Right? You're Chris Paul. You're Chris Paul, where you running ball screens, you pulling up mid range at the elbow the entire game, but then we come in here and we running you off screens. We run in motion. We running back doors with you. Like there was a disconnect somewhere.
But let me ask you this, and boy, that's what you're leading into great conversation, because now I have to ask you, okay, let's go with Texas Southern per se. Let's just say, and I don't know, I'm making a assumption. Let's say you have some room for a 2023 player right now, right?
Huh?
And whether you do or not, it doesn't matter. But you always hear this, and I think that's why I always like talking to you, because you'll tell me like, no, this is not a fit. Because you'll always hear coaches say, we'll just take the best available player.
Yeah, you hear a lot of coaches that say that. One, in part, because I think a lot of those coaches don't trust themselves in recruiting.
Okay. And, like I said, I like to be transparent when me and you talk. Like, I'll see a guy and you'll be like, that's not a fit. Where I look at it like, and number one, the other big thing for me is I've seen you guys play. So with me seeing you guys play, I'm like, okay, I see this could be a fit. And even with that being said, because any recruiter or evaluator that sits up here and says they're 100%, I can just call Coach Bogan and they're going to take him. That's a lie. Right. That's an outright lie. And I have no problem saying that. Like, being shot down by you only improves me to say, okay, well, I just say, well, what is it? And it's not taking it personal. Now I'm like, okay, what's a better fit for your style? So I'm like, okay, next time, okay. And for you, you'll send me back a paragraph, be like, this person does this, this, and this, but they don't do this, this, and this that's a fit. And I save all of that. And I make sure I save that, because now I'm like, okay, cool. It's not a situation. I'm like, oh man, I thought we was boys. And I thought, no, it is understanding what your needs really are. And like, you've never said this to me, like, we'll take the best available player, because that tells me either you're going to develop the heck out of that kid to conform to what you want, hopefully, or you're taking that person off of a name. You know what I'm saying? And you have to be careful with saying, oh, well, we just signed a shoe kid.
Right.
That shoe kid may not be better than that independent kid as far as a fit for your system.
Right.
But you took them because you want to say, hey, we got somebody from Sci-Fair. We got somebody from Texas. What's Texas? Oh gosh. The AAU, the Under Armour team, Texas U. Yeah, Texas U, Pro Stars, all of them guys. Yeah, Pro Skills. Like,
I mean, the relationships are important. So
yes.
You can't.
I don't want to strong on anybody to say, man, take him because
you
have a relationship. No, that'll get you fired.
Right, because I've had even coaches from those big name schools. Programs that call me all the time, and it's like, hey man, they're not a fit. One of the biggest AAU programs in the country. The director of it, he's my guy. Went over to one of their high school games, dapped him up after the game. He was like, I got one for you. I passed.
But okay. So let me ask you this, and again, this is being transparent without naming any school whatsoever. When you have these situations like you're saying, is it always looked at, do you feel like you're looked at as, well, you could take this kid, basically because we want to keep them D1, so to speak. Do you feel that way sometimes?
I do think that I mean, no way of dancing around. I do think at times the HBCU level is the most disrespected level of
Yes.
Division I basketball. You know, I do think some of the videos that I get of players that that just don't have the talent, even for Division II NAIA schools, and I'm getting film on them.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like I wouldn't even send some of the film to my D1, my D2 friends, my NAIA friends, and you're sending that film to me, saying that this young lady can come help us be successful, right? And that's a to me, the thing that I wish that people would really understand is we're still talking about Division I basketball. We played at Texas A&M last year. We played at Arizona last year. We played at Florida State last year. We played at UCF last year. We
But
played
Coach,
Rice. Like we're still playing these teams. Like we're not,
I think we have to get past what you're saying is 100% correct, but I think we got to take it even past that. Like, if I was in your position, I would just say, and that's probably why I'm not. I was like, have you watched one of our games?
Right.
And I don't want it to come off as
Being arrogant.
it's not that. But like you say, I'm sure you get 100 emails, Coach. You said it already.
Right.
I got one. How do you know? How do you know you got one?
Right.
Just because they can play?
Don't know our system.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
any of that stuff. And
I can't say I got, I can't even say, and I shy away from I got one unless I've seen you play and I can say I got one. She fits that wing that you're looking for. And then I can come back and explain to you why I think she's a fit for you. Not I got one, you my guy.
Right.
And just assume you're going to look. And sure, you may look, but for me as an evaluator, I don't want to keep getting those red marks. You know what I'm saying?
Well, so here's the thing that that makes it somewhat difficult for people with our system, because as I've told you, my head coach, she created her own offense.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There's nothing like it in college basketball. Right? Every single play, she's drawn it up. It is not something that she took from someone else. It is not.
Your point. And you have told me that. But You know what that tells me? You need an IQ person that can read with IQ and read a first option, the second option, the third option, correct?
Right.
So again, we've had this conversation. Right. So that's why I look at this like there's no way somebody can sit up here and tell you I got one for you without having that initial conversation or being shot down.
Right.
Or being shot down and coming back to you and say, well, explain to me what you're looking for. And then you take the time to say, well, this is what we do. This is the type of offense. And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I got it. That lets me know when I'm out there looking, I'm not looking for that person to do the initial read. I'm looking for that second or third read where they caught somebody reading the offense and knowing the defense, like, okay, they took away this, this, and this. There was my fourth option. Then I say, hey, well, coach, okay.
Right.
Because of this, that, and the other. And even if it's now I can take that clip and explain it to you and say, this is why I think this would be that wing you're looking for or that point guard you're looking for, because she would fit your offense. But there's no way I can sit up here and see a weekend of basketball and say, oh, man, she went off.
Right.
Because she went off, man, at the very least, she's Texas Southern. That's ignorance. That's complete ignorance. And to your point, like you said, because it's SWAC, people will think, oh, at the very least, you can go SWAC. Well, surprise for y'all, they getting D1 transfers.
Right.
So that person that you think is the one, they just got somebody that was Big 12. They just got somebody that was Conference USA. Like, wake up. No, this is not what it is. We are in a different time now.
Right.
And that's another reason I brought you on the show, because I want people to understand, like, you just not out here like, please come to Texas Southern. You know what I mean?
No, we are. I tell people that no has never hurt my feelings.
Yeah.
I was texting with a recruit yesterday and telling her, I'm just now reaching out to her and things of that, so I, say, hey, are you too far down the road with your recruiting for us to get involved? And she was like, I'm still open to everything. And I told her, I said, that sounds great to me, and so, and I told her, I said, I don't want you to feel pressure or you to sit on the phone with me and be the great person that don't want to tell me no, right? I made it very clear, Texas, we ain't for everybody, and everybody ain't for us. And so if you already know right now today that we're not for you, then tell me we're not for you, so that we're not wasting each other's time in this situation.
That's a whole nother topic right there, as you know.
And so I don't want to sit around babysitting you every night, every other night, every other week, or any of it. If you know in your heart of hearts that Texas Southern isn't a fit for you, and so because what we're trying to accomplish here, it's never been done. It's never been done. Like we're not sitting in our meeting room trying to figure out how do we win 4 games, how do we win 10 games, how do we just win the SWAC? No, we're sitting in the meeting room. How do we shock the world? How do we shock the world? That is what our desire is. We went and played Texas A&M last year. It was my scout. I didn't go in there feeling defeated. I didn't go in there thinking that we didn't have a chance. With 5 minutes left in the game, their best player had to look like a number 1 pick in the WNBA draft, or they would have lost. Go watch the film. There wasn't an adjustment that could have been made by them. There wasn't one. The adjustment was their best player said, I'm a pro. That was the adjustment. She said, I'm a pro. And so, from a coaching standpoint, that's one of the things that I'm my head coach, she knows what she wants out of a scout, and me for myself, I know what I want to provide from a scouting standpoint to help her be successful on the sidelines. And so scouts are difficult. They're timely for me because in part, I just don't want to leave any stone, unsearched. For us going into a game like that, when we know the odds are against us, I need every small little detail that I can find that we can take advantage of during that game. And I felt like as a staff, I did the scout, but it took the entire staff preparing those young ladies to go there and have success. And so, we didn't get the W. But that was the quietest I'm willing to bet that was the quietest that gym has ever been. And so, so we look for a certain type of player. You got to be tough. Like for what we want to accomplish, you got to be tough. Like there's no way around it. I'm all for you having your swagger or whatever it is you want to call it. But when we get between the lines, all that stuff needs to go out the window.
Yeah.
Right. Are you going to make the tough plays? Are you going to do the things? Are you going to make the extra pass? Are you going to be selfless? Right. Those are the things that we need to be successful in the way that we desire to do so here. And so it takes a unique player, person for us that fits our system to come in, because we want to spread the court and give our players opportunities to go make plays. There's a lot of freedom within what we do from an offensive standpoint. It is a feel and a flow to our offense that our players are allowed the freedom just to go make plays. That's what I told the recruit the other day. As a playmaker, as a player, as someone that wants to get a bucket, you're just not going to find a better offense to play in where you're going to have the freedom to go make plays. My head coach, not one time last year did she tell a player they took a bad shot. Not one time.
Gives them confidence.
Right. It gives them confidence. Now I'm sitting over there. I'm sitting over, but that's the thing that it gives them, like you said, the confidence to go make plays. You're not wondering after you take a shot or you make a bad play, you don't have to look over at the table every single time. Am I coming out?
Yeah.
Am I coming out? Right. And so now that freedom to go make the play, to go make plays, whether you're at the top of the totem pole, so to speak, or at the bottom of the totem pole, the freedom is still there. What did you feel? What did you feel on that play? And so that's what after games where we watch film on, what were you feeling there? It's not always the right thing, but it was a new system for our young ladies last year as well. And so it was an adjustment that I do think some of them had success in. And, I'm excited about the new group that we'll have coming in next year because we got a chance to really sit down and put our fingerprints, over this roster, a lot more than what we did last year coming in. My first day last year was May 1st.
Wow.
May 1st.
Late in the game.
Right. And so, there wasn't a lot on the table for us at that particular point in time. And, we also had to keep some people on the roster that just wasn't willing to be great teammates this year. And so pivoting away from those things and, creating a culture that Coach Skeet wants in this program, I'm definitely excited about it. One of the things that we preach to our kids all the time is, a weak person is a bad person. And so we don't want it around our program in any kind of way. We're trying to raise young ladies that are going to be champions, not only on the court, but off the court as well, from an academic standpoint within the community. Man, there's just so many opportunities here. You got entrepreneurs walking around campus with, fashion lines, all type of just like the relationships. That's what I tell the young ladies, like, don't come here and just sit in class.
Yeah.
Don't just go sit in your apartment. Be intentional about building relationships that when the ball stops bouncing, you still have opportunities.
Absolutely.
You have opportunities. And so I think that, that's one of the things that we're just continuously preaching to these young ladies. 7 million people here. If you can't leave here with a phone full of contacts,
relationships
to impact you for the rest of your life, then you didn't get it. You didn't get what we were telling you, what we talked about. It is not just basketball all the time here. And so one of the things that we focus on as a program here is we have this thing where it's called me training, right? And it's about the person. It's not about it has zero to do with basketball. Zero to do with basketball. We take time out of our allotted hours that we get a week for practice and just take some time and sit down with our team and try to pour into them as people. And so so we are intentional about creating opportunities for them. The mental part of basketball is, we just live in a different time.
Yeah.
We live in a different time. And if we're not sensitive to that need of our players, then it will turn around and create issues for you. And so I've enjoyed that. We actually had one on the road. I think we might have been in Arizona. I can't remember where we were. We had a meat training session, and man, it was very vulnerable for the ladies on our team. It just allowed them to open up and just start speaking about a lot of things that have happened to them, or that they might have been experiencing, and just to give them that room to know that we're there for them, other than just as coaches, man. Like for me, that's a big thing. Part of the reason that I'm a coach today is because of my experience with my high school coach. We won a lot of games while I was in high school, a whole lot of them. He's one of the winningest coaches in the state of Alabama. And when the last horn sounded, none of us heard a word from him.
Wow.
Never heard a word from him. And so for me, it gave me a passion and a desire to show players that there's a better way about going about doing that.
Yeah.
Right. That I should care about you as a person. It is not just about what you can do for me as a basketball player. Right. And so, so that's part of our program. One of the things that Coach Skeet is building this program on is, what we call the Tiger Way. The T in that is for togetherness. The I is for integrity. The G is for God. The E is for excellence, and the R is for resilience.
Mm-hmm.
So, when we start talking about recruiting and bringing kids in, we go right to this, and we tell them what are our non-negotiables. The Tiger Way. Mm-hmm. That's a non-negotiable. We as kids in recruiting, what are your non-negotiables? Because you should know those things, right?
They're afraid to say it a lot of times.
Right. Yeah. When that was one of the things that the first time I had heard that from a coach, honestly, was Coach Skeet. She asked when we get with recruits, it's one of the first things she bring up. What are your non-negotiables?
I like that. That's
right.
That's innovative right there. I like that, because now you're freeing that kid up not to just have everything bottled in. And as you said, like when you go on these retreats, or when you have the exit interviews at the end of the year, it's not like you're getting blindsided. You know what I'm saying? So they have that comfort to say, Coach, I feel like this is a non-negotiable. And it also lets you know, well, okay, this may not be the place for you as well.
Right.
And, those conversations have to be had. And I hate, because sometimes either side sometimes may not want to have it for a number of reasons, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong. And no situation is 100% perfect scenario. That every kid has to understand you're not going to get 100% of what you want in a program. No. That's just not going to happen. But at least be comfortable enough to talk about it in a coach. And I'll say this from a coaching perspective: a coach not get irritated when a kid tries to express themselves, as long as it's not in a disrespectful manner. You know what I mean?
Right. That open door, true open door policy.
Yes.
Right. Absolutely. A lot of people say they have open door policy, but it's open to a very comfortable conversation.
Yes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Not open to real conversations. Right. There's as long as you're respectful in what you come in and say to me.
Yeah.
You should be able to come in and have a conversation with me.
Absolutely.
About
I agree.
anything.
I definitely agree
and so because that's adding to the point. I can't come in and have a conversation with you, and I keep all of this bottled up, and we never get to the surface of what the issues are, and then I'm finding out 2 days later, yeah, she's been in the portal since Tuesday.
That's true. You
Right.
know, that's very true.
Why?
And this is something that could have been alleviated. Absolutely. You're lagging again. You're lagging.
You know, yeah, I see that. I'm trying to figure out I think it's, let me see. I think we got it. We good now.
Yeah, you're good
We
now.
good?
Yeah, you're good.
So, you know, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Uh, when it comes to that, you know, for me, I always, I don't know why it's
Yeah, I'm good. Uh-huh. I'm good.
good.
I hear you now.
Um, you know, I've just always said, even when when I was a head coach, you know, on a high school level, you know, I've always had that open door policy. Me being an assistant coach for the majority, always the person that is smoothing over, right, a lot of the things that are going on, right.
Yeah.
That's one of your main roles, right.
Mhm.
You know, and so um, smoothing it over, but smoothing it with the truth,
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
right. Yeah, this is
You're lagging again. You're lagging.
what she actually, right, like conversations with you while I'm throwing my head coach on underneath the bus. Hmm. I'm not sure what shoot. There shouldn't be anything else on here.
Now, you're fine now. You're fine now.
Okay, but I think there's a lag.
You started to lag again. You're frozen now.
Man, I've been waiting. I see it moving.
Okay, I hear you now. I got you.
Let me
I
see
got
now.
you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not sure. I've for me here, I've always made sure from a Wi-Fi standpoint uh, uh, that
You're cutting out again.
we never. So I'm not sure. I'm looking at my connection, and it appears to be strong. I see I'm frozen again now. Um, the
I see you now.
laptop come
Now
on.
you're
I
not
know the
frozen. Now
next
you're
time
good.
I'll get on. Okay.
Okay, yeah, you're good
So
now. So let me
yeah.
ask you this in closing as we start to wind down this. Let's put basketball to the side, and I like to ask certain questions, and I always don't like to ask the same questions to each person. What do you want to leave a TSU prospect when they leave your program? What type of image or what do you want to leave when that kid leaves the program? You're going to say, "Hey, yeah, you knew how to play basketball," but what do you want to leave that kid?
Mm, mm,
You're frozen again.
mm. That is a I think I'm man. Needed to
Okay,
unfreeze so
whatever
I
you're
can
doing now, I got you. Yep, you're
dive
great
in.
now. I got you now.
Okay. I guess I should have been like this the entire evening.
Yeah, you're perfect now. Well, you were perfect.
Okay. I think it's still a little bit of a lag.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay,
You
now
good? You
you're
back
good.
there?
Now you're good. Yep,
Hmm.
I got you.
All right. So the first thing is number one, your degree.
Okay.
All right. That
You cutting in and out again.
we just no way of getting around that. We have to. The ball is going to stop bouncing for every athlete at some point. Let me see what could possibly be.
Now I can hear you. It was just you froze up.
Hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay.
You're frozen right now. Now I can't hear you. Okay, there you go. There you go. I got you now.
You got me? All right.
Yep, I got you. So you said number one was you want them to leave with a degree.
Right. I mean that should be the priority, in my opinion, of any program.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially with coming from the HBCUs, our first priority is how can we help you change
You're lagging again.
your path, your
You're
path
lagging
in
again.
life, and that's going to be done more through relationship. Okay. Trying to just.
Okay, so you lagged, but then that one was only short. It was like 3 or 4 seconds. So you're back now. Go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. So I just heard you, but you just went out again. You said, yeah, I can hear you, and then you went out, and now you're frozen again.
I haven't had much of an issue hearing you, even when it's lagging.
Okay.
Yeah. Hopefully this.
Okay, I hear you now. Like I hear you, and you're moving, so you're good.
Okay. Well, I'll try to tie this in real quick.
Okay.
From a lagging standpoint, and I think it's going in I see.
You're lagging again. Okay, there you go.
When it comes to recruiting, has.
You're good. Go ahead. I hear you.
Okay. One of the things that has allowed me to have success as a coach during my career, which is went from 10 years, over a decade coaching on the men's side in college, to now doing it on the women's side. Prided myself person, right? I think I've always said it. The players that I coach could sell what I'm doing a lot better than what I can.
Absolutely. You went out again. I can't hear you now.
Because other players are going to trust other players before they trust a coach, and they should. Right. I can see that it's. You can't hear me at all?
I got you now. Go ahead. Now it's just intervals of like when you go out, now it's like 4 seconds. But go ahead. I can hear you now.
And so, like I said, the players do a great job of for me, and so that's not so. I value people. I value people, and that's never going to change. I tell parents when they bring their kids to me, they should leave me better.
Absolutely, and not just as a player.
Right. I have a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old. When I dropped them off at school in the morning, me better, but at the worst. Right. And so for me, my challenge to myself is how do I make you better? One of the things that in recruiting for me, one of the things I've always focused on is because I'm a person of faith, man. I look at who the player can become in the right. You know, who can they? That's always been something that's been valued to me because I love skill development. I tell players all the time, if you don't want to get in the gym, don't come here. Do not come to TSU because from the top all the way down, we are skill development people. And so if you don't want to work on your game, this is not a fit for you. It is not. That never work out when you get here. Like, there's no way we can enjoy being around each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, and so because for me, when I see you doing things in the game that doesn't allow you to have success, I want to help correct those things. And we're not going to just correct them by not getting in the gym.
Yeah.
You know, and so you know that aspect of it, man. I enjoy that part. I love that part of it. You know, I want to help people win. You know,
Yeah.
One of my closest friends, he has a saying that he has, and it's how do I help others win?
Mm-hmm.
How do I help others win? And so that's one of the things that I wake up every day asking God to give me the strength to be the person that I need to be to any and everyone that I come in contact to, but definitely to the young ladies within this program. Give me the strength, give me the leadership, give me the wisdom to be worthy of them following me. Give me the humility to and the wisdom and understanding to follow those who I need to follow for this program to be successful. And so, I'm excited about the vision that our head coach, our leader of the program, has for it. I think a lot of people will be pleasantly surprised with what we'll put out on the court this year.
I'm looking forward to seeing it. You know, like we talked about, my sister's in Houston. So,
right.
I not even 20, 25 minutes from TSU. So I'm looking forward to getting up there to see what the product you put on the floor this year.
Mm-hmm.
So, listen, man, I appreciate you coming on this show, man. And we're going to do this again, man. And, like I said, I want people to know about SWAC and MEAC schools, and not just SWAC and MEAC. I want them to know about SIAC. I want them to know about CIAA because it's a good brand of basketball. And quite honestly, a lot of people, some don't know and some quite don't understand the quality of it. So that's why I want to bring you on here so people have the understanding of this is what it is and this is a good brand of basketball. And for some of you coaches that are AAU, take the time to get to know the program before you approach this man. Right. Like, understand, like, he's going to be cordial to you, but to save everybody time and for him to take you as, okay, they've done their homework. I can, it's not that I'm not saying you won't look, but, when you get the same people telling you that I have a dream speech, you know what I'm saying? And it's just not even remotely close to what they can be of service to you. Like, audience, that's just what it is. I hate to have this conversation, but that's what it is.
And it needs to be said because what you end up doing is you burn a bridge.
Yes, absolutely.
Burn a bridge for the next kid.
Yep.
For the next kid. And so that's what I signed this young lady and I told her she was having some difficult times this year with some things off the court. And I said, be a bridge. That's all I said to her. Be a bridge. Mm-hmm. The decisions you're making right now is blowing up the bridge. Nobody's going to go back to that program and bring another kid into it with the examples that you're setting.
Absolutely.
So right now, today, you have a choice to make. Are you going to be a bridge? Are you going to be a bridge for someone else to follow you, to have this same opportunity, right? And so when coaches do that, and their hearts, for the most part, their hearts are in the right place, right? They're trying to help. They're trying to help a kid,
Yeah, definitely.
right? They're trying to help a kid, but at the same time, like this is college. You're hired and fired.
Yeah.
Right. And so understand that part of it for us as well. We have a responsibility to the university to provide something of excellence.
Absolutely.
And so that every player is not a fit for that, and just any player is not a fit for that. So man, it looks like this is it's clear now. We have
that sounds great, Sal. You crystal clear now. You doing some things now. Like I hear you perfectly now.
So I got a new camera and stuff. So I got to play around with the man and see if it's what's caused the lagging issues, because we do Zoom calls and all that stuff on a daily basis. And we just I haven't had any issues, but I haven't used this camera. This is my first day breaking open this camera because I'm trying to get a lot more involved in the land of the podcast. I got a family member that started a podcast with us. It's called The Hiatus, man. And he's an actor, former football player at the University of Alabama. Was on NCIS LA. Was a regular on there, and so so we doing a bunch of things, man. At some point I would love to start my own.
Yeah. I mean,
just dive into it, man.
And it's helpful. I mean, it's a helpful recruiting tool for you as well, man.
Right.
Absolutely, because I mean, we're in the day and age of technology. Like, yes, texts are personal, and but this right here gives that extra feel to, hey, can you jump on a Zoom call? Can you jump on real quick? And, you can start talking like this. Of course, there's FaceTime and, Android's version of it as well. But this is where technology is taking us.
Zoom calls a podcast. It's a podcast.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is really a podcast. And what, how elaborate we are with our stuff, like, I mean, we're laying it out. We put together a really impressive presentation for recruits when we do a podcast with them. And it, at times, like we got kids that we get done with the presentation, they're ready to commit without even showing up on campus.
Yeah, you're supposed to dress it up to you're putting the university's best foot forward. You know what I'm saying? And it needs to be that. And it shouldn't be, okay, because we're HBCU, we don't have the funds of, a Texas or a Texas A&M. No, you're innovative to say, look, we do some of the things that are just as nice as well.
Right. I mean, we signed Imani Morris. Should be a freshman for us from Duncanville High School. Right. I think I told you, Wake Forest offered her.
Yeah.
She was a Memphis commit.
Yeah.
She signed with us, committed to us after a Zoom call.
Hey, man, by any means necessary.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like we wanted to bring on a visit and all of this, but the family was amazed. Like a lot of people just, they have these predetermined mindset of what an HBCU has to offer. And then when we actually show them what's actually on the table
and exceed those expectations.
Right. And it's not even close to what they think, and so, we signed another D1, a kid from out of the portal from a D1. And I told us, man, when you walk in our gym, you're going to be surprised. And Absolutely. So we walked in and she saw it, and we hosted the HBCU All-Star Game. It wasn't because they didn't have any other options. It was because we have a nice facility for them to do that in. And so, this summer, this spring, we have construction going on at the facility now, doing even more for it. We're opening up a new a brand new state-of-the-art training facility as well on campus. And so we're continuing to grow, continuing to take the steps, man, to provide every avenue for our student athletes to be successful on and off the court.
Listen, brother, this won't be the last time you're on the show, right, man. I appreciate you coming on, and to be honest, I can't wait to see what you guys do next year. You know, actually, I want to catch you before conference season. I want to catch you in non-conference, because to me, that always lets me know where you stand before conference hits. So, you know, I'm gonna be hitting you up to say, hey, man, I'm in town. I want to see those non-conference games, or even, but make sure you send me the schedule, because Lord knows I'll be all over the place this year. And if you're somewhere I'm at, you know, I'm like, hey, man, I'm gonna pop up.
Right. I'll definitely get the schedule to you so we can link up. You know, even if you're not down here in Houston, you can catch us out somewhere else. We got some intriguing games. We get to go down and play the Bayou Barbie.
Okay.
And LSU, I think you and I talked about that the other day. So, you know, and that was one of the things that we will recruit. I asked players, I say, man, we're going to LSU just to see what their response was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know,
I mean,
are you shying away from that? Right. Are you shying away from that?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. And that's probably a game I'm probably going to try to make, man, to be honest with you, because like I said, I would love to see you guys, how you stand in that non-conference. That's what I want to see, you know, to say, okay, this is where they stand. This is what they have to do to improve, or are you right there? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd love to be pleasantly surprised. You know what I'm saying? And I will probably get a media pass for that one. So for post-game interviews, to be right there to ask those questions, you know, because that's another thing I love to do. Like, after seeing the game and tweeting out about it, and, you know, I'm fortunate enough to get, you know, those passes. So yeah, I'll be right there asking questions.
Okay. Well, anytime, man.
Definitely, man. And man, like I said, this won't be the last time you're on the show, man. And I wish you all the best for next season. And you know, we will definitely be catching up real soon, man. Where you going in July? Do you know yet?
Have not decided on that yet. You and I talked about your JUCO event as well, and so
okay,
we you know, because of the portal, things change. So
absolutely.
Be prepared for those things. We don't have a lot of scholarships for 24.
That's right. You did say that. You did say that. Right.
But we still need to be prepared for just in case. You know, we live in the times of the portal. So you know, and so we will. I'll make some decisions here with my head coach, and
okay,
I'll let you know. You'll be one of the first to know.
Okay, man. Listen, man, I appreciate you for coming on, man, and we'll be in touch real soon, okay?
Okay, brother.
All right, man. You take care.
All right, you too.
All right. Listen, man, that's my guy right there. You know, listen, you know, sometimes I don't care if you're a player or if you're an evaluator or whatever the case may be. You need that person to be able to tell you, you know, whether you got it right or got it wrong. You don't need a person to pacify you, you know, to say, oh, you're the greatest since sliced bread. Like, sure, you know, if you're doing a great job, yes, that deserves to be recognized. But in this profession, like he said, like, you have to be able to get this right more often than not, because if you don't, they're not going to return your calls if you don't. That's just what it is. And I hold myself accountable as well as an evaluator, be able to get this right more often than not. And, you know, like I said, nobody's going to be 100%, but at the end of the day, hold yourself accountable to do better. That's going to wrap it up for this holiday edition. I want to thank everybody for tuning in for this longer version of Hoops Hitting Gems podcast. We will have another show next week, probably after around June 6th or June 7th, once I get back in town. So we'll have another podcast around that time. Until then, it's getting close to the scholastic period time for you high school kids. So go out there. June is a month that, you know, you'll get more exposure, but with your high school teams, go out there, play hard, hustle, communicate, and find your niche that holds value to the team and can get you exposure. Okay. That'll do it for tonight. You guys take care. I'm your host, David Jones. Good night.